Awesome. All right, thank you guys for being here. My name is Elijah Aquino. I am the president of MCG, or Management Consulting Group. Last year around campus, we might have been known as FCG, so Flames Consulting Group. But thank you guys for being here. This is our QR code. If you guys could just scan this for attendance. I'll leave that up there for next like 10, 15 seconds, but thank you for being here. Today I'll run through basically case competition, the timeline, what you guys should expect. Also kind of talk about what consulting is for anybody that's new into this room. And then I'll pass it off to our consultants from Accenture. They're going to kind of talk about what consulting is. Also, they actually have an activity that gives you kind of a glimpse of what a case is. So we'll go through that. But yeah, awesome. I'm going to go on to the next slide here. It allows me. Okay, so what is consulting for anyone that's new here? Consulting, this is a wide general term, but it's the business of providing advice to other businesses, government bodies, or nonprofits. You can think about it in that way. A good way that I've had to explain to myself is a doctor for businesses. So businesses come in with problems, and then from there, a consultant strategizes a way to actually solve these problems and then implement these actual solutions. And you'll get a glimpse of that here with our consultants here a little bit later on. But it's hard to find because all of the projects are not the same. Your day-to-day is not the same also. So that's kind of what consulting is at a general overview. What's a case competition? So you guys are here for the Accenture case competition info net. Here, I pulled this from Management Consultant, online website, but their definition is it's where students form teams, usually 4 to 6 people each, that compete to solve challenging business problems for a specific client, or a fake client in this case. Each team gets the same information and time frame to develop recommendations before presenting their solution to a panel of judges. Here you'll have a first round and a second round, but I think it's a great definition. We'll evaluate the quality of each team's analysis, recommendations, and presentations. Why should you do a case competition? It looks great on a resume. It's also something that you could talk about when you're interviewing, right? Tell me about a time you faced a problem when working in a team. This is where it comes out in the case competition. Another thing is you get to work with a team. You get to build your leadership skill set, and it's actually a simulated way to see what a consultant does day to day. You get a business problem, you work with the team, you guys come up with some type of strategy to actually solve this problem, and then you pitch that recommendation to a client or some form of judges in this case. So that's kind of what a case competition is. Our case competition with Accenture. Kind of some of the similar things here. But this year we've partnered up with UWN, Alpha Kappa Psi, and Management Consulting Group on our side. This is the 7th case competition that we've ever done. And usually it's been in partnership with UWN, but this year it's with Alpha Kappa Psi. So we're super glad to have you guys on board, and hopefully it's a great opportunity and the start of a partnership here. The structure, and I'll give you guys kind of a timeline here, but teams of 4 to 6. You can register individually or on your own. If you register on your own, we'll put you on a team. Okay, that's kind of the idea here. It kicks off Monday, September 15th. So the Monday that's coming, registration's closed tomorrow. First round. It's a 1-page summary of your recommendation. You can put it on a PowerPoint, you can put it on a Word doc, I really don't care. But it's a 1-page summary of your recommendation. That is on the 18th. The reason for that is we got 5 mentors for you. So we got to filter out all the teams that are in the case competition to 5 teams so that we can assign you guys mentors. On the 18th or the 19th, when we're able to filter out the teams, we'll assign you guys mentors. Accenture will assign us mentors for the teams. And you'll get consultants from Accenture to help you out for the rest of the case. From there, you have until October 8th. October 8th is technically the second round. Traditionally, this was our first round, but this year it's our second round. That's going to be at UIC. We're going to have judges from UIC, professors who worked in consulting, come to UIC, or actually it's going to be in the DH boardroom, and they're going to judge your guys' presentations. Top 5 teams are going to be in that room. That's going to get filtered down to 3 teams. The next day, we go to Accenture Tower. We do an office tour. We eat good food. We have fun at Accenture. We get to, meet some consultants, and then we pitch our case competition. That's the final round. From there, you're crowned a winner. Those three teams get to network and meet some of the MDs and some of the panelists that they have there, and some of the consultants that they have there. But that's the glimpse. And I know I kind of just put that into words, so I'll put that into a timeline view for you. Just one more time here. September 12th, tomorrow, last day to register, 11:59. From Saturday to Monday, we will come together tomorrow, registration closes. On Monday, we'll release the cases to all the teams. Basically all the teams, and we'll assign people who signed individually, who signed up individually onto a team. And then from there, we'll release the case. You guys have 3 days to work on it. And then from there, the top 5 teams get assigned a mentor. They work for the next 2 weeks until October 8th. And then October 9th is that final round. Be good here. I would take a picture of this. It's probably the most important slide. I'll send this out. I'll send this presentation out in our group meet too after. That's our sign up form. So if you haven't signed up yet, you want to sign up. Here it is. Here's your chance. We also have a sign up form after Accenture or our consultants here, our guests here, go up. But that is our sign up form if you want to sign up now. But yeah, I think I can hand it off here. So today I'll hand it off to my future coworkers here, and Karina and Michaela. Karina is a strategy consulting senior analyst. She's actually the founder of FCG, Flames Consulting Group, which has now turned into the management consulting group. So glad to have our founder here. She's been an awesome mentor. She graduated in 2022. And then on the left-hand side of her is Michaela here. She used to actually be on FCG too, formerly FCG. She was under our external relations, and she was also the president of FID, just going hard today. Class of 2024, so just graduated, just started at Accenture. So if you guys want to ask any questions after, feel free. If you guys want to connect with them after, feel free. But yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to them. Throw the presentation over here.
Elijah kind of stole the show there. He went through our deck pretty well.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see everybody. There's a lot of new faces in the room. Like he just introduced us. I'm Karina. I graduated in 2022. I've been at the firm for about 3 years now. September is actually always my work anniversary, so just hit 3 years. And it definitely flies by. So happy to talk about the experiences there. After this too, I'll stay for a little bit for networking. I know y'all always love to chat us up after. So we'll leave that open. But we'll talk through a little bit about the case competition. From an Accenture perspective, I'll add in a little bit of incentive of why it's a really good idea for any student to sign up for this and, put in the work and really get to know, one, Accenture, but then two, what a consulting case looks like. It's what I do in my day-to-day, every single day. It's basically what you'll have 2.5 weeks to do. Michaela.
Also, I'm Michaela. I am a consulting analyst at Accenture. I started about 11 months ago, so my start date was in October. So yeah, very fresh, but also time does fly. Actually, her brother just started at Accenture, and I feel old now.
Mark.
So
yeah, Mark just started this week. He's in
Yeah.
an orientation, so yeah,
good for him.
yeah.
All
right, so we'll go through. Elijah gave he gave a really good summary of what we wanted to talk through too, but I guess we'll give it a little bit in our perspective. We also have a kind of like an activity for you guys today too, kind of get you on your feet, start thinking. We want to give you our objective for today is to give you kind of a best practices for the case competition. We haven't done this before. A little background on the case comp. It started back in 2019. I founded it with some of the leaders from UWN back in the day. If you know Ash and Reese, I don't remember their last names, but still to this day, very good friends of mine. We started the case competition with the women's ERG, which is basically the women's group at Accenture. And since then, this is now our 7th year. Doing the best practices like this is the first time we're doing it. We figure giving you the resources, giving you a little bit of an idea of what consulting is and what we look for as a firm will hopefully prepare you when you show your case in front of MD level leaders at the firm. How exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So very quickly, Elijah just gave you a definition of consulting, but I want to hear from the room. What if you had to explain it in one word, how would you explain consulting? Yeah, go ahead.
Advising.
Okay. Good. Advising. What else? Just shout it.
Problem solving.
Okay, well, I'll put a hyphen on it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just keep shouting it.
Temporary.
Sorry, what was that?
Temporary.
Temporary.
Oh, okay. Strong word. That's a first. All right, temporary. Analysis. Okay, that's good. Analysis.
It depends.
True.
Yeah, okay. I say that to my clients every now and then. Fine. It depends. Outside of what you've heard on theme pages, what else? Strategize, good. Strategize. Actually, let's just end it there. That's a good one to end on. And I'm biased because I'm in strategy.
Okay.
All right. This is how Accenture defines consulting. So it's essentially we're delivering end-to-end transformation powered by innovation and technology with a focus on measurable results and human impact. So all of that to say, what's an end-to-end transformation? We're looking at the entire organization in its entirety. How do we ensure that our clients are always ahead of their space, ahead of the market, ahead of the industry trends that are happening? And everything that we do is powered by technology. So you'll hear consultants working on Google Cloud, SAP, Salesforce, AI. AI is a huge one right now. That's my project. So everything Accenture is, at the end of the day, we're baked into technology in some shape or form. So that's how Accenture defines it. I won't go through the rest of it, but very client-centric, innovative, analytical, adaptive, holistic, right? Always, the goal is to always provide some sort of value, both cash, right? Cash is king, and also, how do we make sure a human is in the loop always, right? How are we empowering our workforces? Michaela, go ahead.
So why should you go into consulting? Well, there are a lot of perks to being in consulting, both from a personal standpoint and a cash standpoint. So consulting is actually thought of as, what's the conversion? It's like 1 year in consulting is the
3 years
equivalent
in
of 3 years in industry. So that's like if you were to spend a year in consulting, that's like 3 years of experience in, say, a bank. Very drastically different because you get to explore a bunch of different industries, try a bunch of different projects so you can see what you like, what you don't like. You also get to choose which projects you want to do so you can tailor your career to fit your interests. You also get to interact with top executives, both within and outside of the firm with your clients. So you're building your network in that way and making a real impact on these organizations. And like we mentioned earlier, every day is different. So if you get bored easily, this is a pretty fun job. And then competitive compensation. So pay is great. There's a lot of good health benefits, medical, like any benefit you can think of, honestly.
Insurance, your dog is sick, we've got it covered.
Yeah,
like,
commuting,
yeah.
yeah, lots of stuff like that.
Get your points. United loves
travel
to see me,
points.
yeah,
Mhm.
Marriott, so.
Right. Speaking
those
of
points,
travel,
yes.
yeah, so you get to work in the office, but as we are working with clients, we work with clients all around the country. So you may even get to travel to the client site, which is really fun because you get to see how you get to solve problems and they have an actual impact. And then the final thing is promising career progression. Like I said, it's a fast track. And so there's a lot of doors to open for new opportunities. You could even go out to industry, but
Yeah.
yeah.
A little plug in there, a lot of people love to go into business school. Accenture pays for business school tuition. You do have to come back to Accenture for 2 years after. But it's a small price to pay, in my opinion, to get to go to B school anywhere in the country. Like NYU, Booth, Kellogg, UCLA, right? All the big ones. And what else? Oh, travel opportunities. I think it's really cool to be 20-something years old and get to speak to a CEO about, hey, this is what I think you should do. I've been able to tour factories, for example, and it's just always a very great experience to get to see in your early to mid-20s. And it sets you up for very great exit opportunities later on. People go into private equity. Some people actually pivot to investment banking for a little bit. But typically industry, if you know Andrew Erickson, he just left Accenture and he's now chief of staff at a startup. So lots of great opportunity there. Who does well? Be a problem solver, be creative. The teams that I work with, the common denominator across all of us is we're all very curious and we always want to learn more. You're always going to be in a room with very like top of the top, the best thinkers in the industry, the best thinkers in the market, the best sellers. You're always in a room with the smartest people, but they are always still curious to learn and they take you on that journey with you or with them. Be people oriented, right? Are you a strong communicator? If you write me a message on Teams or you write me an email, can I understand what your message is? Even more importantly, when you put together a deck for me, am I going to understand the story that you're telling me? That'll eventually be sent to the client. So having clear and consistent communication, be resilient. There is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of priorities change. So if you get bored easily, this is a very great job. Things change all the time. There are times where I barely work 40 hours in a week, but there are other times where you're working a lot. But it all kind of just comes and goes as a project changes. And be results driven, right? Everything that we do has to have an outcome. What's the best possible outcome? Always thinking, what's our best practice here? And that sort of thing. So those are kind of the core characteristics. Success traits, analytical thinking, emotional intelligence is actually a huge one that I don't think we talk about enough. You are working with people. This is a business of people. You're not working with a product on a shelf. That might be your project, but you're working with people at the end of the day. Do you have the emotional intelligence for it? Do you have executive presence? If I have an analyst who just joined yesterday on my team, can I put them in the room with the client and trust that they can conduct themselves well, right? That's what we're looking for. We all joke around with our friends. I'm a completely different person on the weekends than I am in the office. But that's why, because we have to show up as professionals. We have to show up as the face of Accenture or whatever firm you go work at. Are you representing the firm well? Are you representing our business outcomes well, right? You're the face of the company at that point. Can I put you in front of a client? Time management is also a huge one. Can you balance your priorities and your deadlines? We don't ever miss deadlines. We'll maybe flex them a little bit, but typically meet your deadlines, and the case competition really tests that. And do you have a growth mindset? Be open to feedback. Not everybody, don't take feedback personally. It's for your growth. Can you handle that? Can you take feedback and continuously self-improve and learn?
Okay, so let's talk about this case comp again.
Yeah,
Again.
Elijah summarized it. I know a few people just walked in. So welcome to everybody that just walked in, but essentially the case competition, and these are kind of the years past, what I can find on Instagram. This is our 7th year. And essentially your objective for the case competition is to analyze a real world business case and provide a practical and innovative solution and present that recommendation with clarity and impact to the judges. This is a great way, like I said before, to gain hands-on consulting experience, sharpen your critical thinking skills, and build professional connections with Accenture. You will be paired, if you make it to the top 5 teams, you will be paired with an Accenture coach. And that is one way to, kind of meet somebody at the firm and build that mentorship with them. And then if you make it to the final round at the Accenture office, you'll get to meet leaders in the firm, and get to network with them after the final round is over. Yeah, so I think we have
We talked about
a
this.
timeline. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We touched a little bit about this, about why students should participate. So 3 main things. You get that hands-on experience that most people can't speak to. When you're in an interview, they're going to ask you questions about real world scenarios and you have to speak to that. And it's kind of hard when you haven't had your first job or your first internship. So this is a great opportunity to do that. You'll also be networking with senior leadership. Your network is your net worth, so it's important to start building that early, as well as exposure to recruitment. So recruiting is a brutal process, and the only way to really get through is making a name for yourself. And so doing things like this shows that you are driven and you're taking the initiative with your career, as well as the fact that we literally will see you guys. And so we can put a face to the when they're looking through the thousands and thousands of applications. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's great for recruitment.
Yeah.
I'll put it to that much. It's very competitive, especially now.
Mhm.
As you all know, the job market is not the best right now, right? This is a great recruitment opportunity. I cannot emphasize that enough. You are really putting your face to the name. Your name we will make sure that recruitment knows that you show up to this and that you show up to other MCG, AKSI, or whatever consulting info sessions that happen on campus, right? So the more that you show that you're interested, the better for your outcome. No promises, but set yourself up for success. Criteria to join. Org leaders, I think we agreed, just have a strong interest in consulting. We are looking for undergraduates, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, you are all welcome to participate. I believe the rule is that you must be a member of either MCG, UWN, or AKSI. Yep, okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so we want to talk about the team expectations. Beyond just signing up for this case competition, you also want to put in your best effort. And I know this may be some of your first times seeing a case competition or knowing what consulting is. So we'll break it down for you. You're going to start off by solving the case. We're going to give this case, and you have a couple weeks to solve it. You're going to want to really use structured problem solving so that way you can holistically look at it, make sure you're not missing anything when it comes to figuring out your solutions. So then you're going to, after figuring out the answer to the case, build your pitch. So you want to create a clear, attractive, and compelling presentation so that way you can tell the judges what you think the client should do in this case. And I think this is honestly the most important part because you could say something totally wrong, but if you convince them, well, you kind of won, right?
Think of it, it's all about storytelling.
It's all about storytelling. So
Strive for a good answer though.
but like, yeah, do put in the right answer. But on the flip side, if you have an amazing answer and you can't communicate it, then it was all for nothing because they're not going to understand what you're trying to say. They might not totally understand why you think that something is the right solution. So storytelling is just as important as the answer. You're going to be working with a coach to refine your pitch, and eventually you're going to get to round 1. So in round 1, the teams are going to share the recommendations with the UIC judges, and you want to be able to answer all of their questions as well. So you want to anticipate questions they're going to ask, and they're really going to want to poke holes in your recommendations because they want to see that you really thought about it and you really believe that this is the right thing and you covered all your bases. And then of the 5 teams, 3 of them will make it to the Accenture final round. And these are going to be Accenture employees, so upper level management. They're going to be judging your recommendations, and this is their job. So you're going to want to put in your best effort. And then some other tips on the side. I find that it's important to think about how much information you're giving them, because on one end, you don't give them enough context, they don't understand what you're talking about. It doesn't work. But then on the flip side, if you give them too much information, they're just gonna be like, I don't want to listen anymore. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So storytelling is key. And then asking for feedback. So consulting is a very iterative practice. You know, we work on these slides. This was not the first slide that we put together. We worked on this for a couple days, you know, want to make sure that we're telling the right story. It just looks good. So in this process, you're going to want to practice presenting to as many people as you can, your coach, your friends, even your professors. So that way you can see how your message is coming across and they can give you pointers on your presentation.
Be able to back your answer, all the things.
Mhm.
I do want to make sure we have time for an activity, so I'll go through this. This is the coaches and team expectations. Now, we've mentioned the coaches a few times. The coach is not going to give you the answer. That is not their job. Their job is just to give you guidance. Are you on the right path? Does it make sense? Do they think your slides look good? Do they have any feedback points? To give you perspective, all the coaches are either a senior analyst or a consultant level. So they have 2 to 3 years of experience. Somebody like at my level right now. So they have enough client experience, they have enough presentation experience to give you some solid advice. That will be, this needs to be tweaked a little bit. I will send out an email, once the leaders of the student orgs send me who the top 5 teams are. I will send you an email with specific instructions, guidance, do's and don'ts, and you will be paired with your coach. Now, this is important. Teams are expected to reach out to their coaches. The coaches will only reach out to you the very first time to introduce themselves and give you kind of their schedule, their availability for the next week or 2. I think one of the coaches is out of LA, for example, others may be out of New York. So really kind of just look out for their availability. But after they introduce themselves, it is the team's jobs to reach out to the coaches. If you do not reach out to your coaches, you will be disqualified. These are Accenture people volunteering to give their time. They're not getting, this is literally their free time to help out students. It's their passion project for the next few weeks. So I want to really, really emphasize that if you are unresponsive, if you do not reach out, you will be disqualified. Yeah, that's basically it.
But have fun too.
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun.
So much fun.
Yes. So yeah.
This is the timeline. I think I edited this correctly, Elijah. Yep.
Yep.
Tweaked it a little bit this year.
People got
Yeah, feel free to
pictures.
take a picture of
Yeah.
this. Essentially, make sure you submit your applications by tomorrow. How many of you have submitted an application? All right, that's what I like to see. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so those who have not, submit your applications by tomorrow. Case competition begins the 15th. Top 5 teams are selected on the 18th. You will see an email from me on the 19th with your coaches. The first round is at UIC. On the 8th, I believe that information will come from our student leaders, MCG, AKSI, and UWN. Final round, I will see you in the office. This time should be tweaked if you'll hear, but those who want to do an office tour, they'll be able to come in earlier than 5 p.m. Just depends on your classes. We don't want to get in the way of school. But yeah, perfect.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, sure. So I actually participated in the case competition back in the fall of 2022. I feel like it was a really great opportunity now that I'm working at the firm, because it really was like what I do on a daily basis, working in a team, really trying to figure out the case in a methodical way. I will say it was difficult because it was really my first time seeing what consulting was and doing it myself. So also just like really look to the internet, look to any resources to get a second opinion if you don't really know what you're doing. Like your coach is literally there to do that. I feel like I should have talked to my coach a little more. But yeah, I thought it was a really fun experience. It really tested my problem solving skills, and it's just cool to be able to speak on that experience because again, when I was interviewing for Accenture, oh, actually, I think I did this after I interviewed for Accenture. Well, if I interviewed other places, I would have talked about the case competition. So yeah.
Yeah, I think most of our alumni at Accenture actually did participate in the
In the case
comp,
competition.
and that was kind of our pipeline for a while, and it still is part of our pipeline. So yeah,
Yeah.
all good stuff, all good stuff. Like I said, fun memories. You meet a lot of great people along the way,
Mhm.
make friends, build mentorships, and it's a great opportunity.
Oh yeah, I like ran into my coach at the
Oh,
office.
I
Like that
love
was
it.
so
Yeah.
crazy. So
And
yeah.
I have my team member. I was a coach last year. He's sitting right there.
Oh,
Right.
love. Yeah, really building that network. I know that was pretty quick, but we also wanted to check in, see if anybody had any pressing questions before we go to the activity.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this competition starts, how do you guys see how? Also, we're going to
So Elijah, yep,
The 15th, the case goes out. So you sign up by tomorrow. The 15th, which is Monday, the case will go out probably like 9 a.m.
you'll have your teams by the 15th. And you will have the case. And you start going with your team starting Monday. Up until last season.
Correct.
Yes. Make sure you sign up with all the right credentials. Yep. Any other questions? That was a good question.
Nope.
All
Well,
right.
we're also here after if you have any more. So
We're good at this. All right.
yeah, okay.